from what I'd known, she was freebasing heroin. He won't give me my money. I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? I see 3 cop cars surround me. I don't know where the they came from, but they start looking around with flashlights. I'm like in the backseat. Hi! Oh my God. You're gonna get banged in my living room? There were some music executives that got their penis spanked in my apartment. Alright guys, you guys might have heard or seen in some of my past content where I talk about driving crack whores around, strippers in the Hollywood Hills, and it is 100% true. Here's the story. I was out in LA pursuing music, living my music dream, and doing my music thing. Very exciting. I was in a band called Ear Candy, then Smackerjack. Then I formed my own thing called On Tracy Lane. And when I moved out there, you know, I'm a rocker. We're doing some cool things. I don't want to work totally 9 to 5. I try to find, okay, what could I do that's going to give me some freedom, but still pay me decent kind of thing. So I started looking around, and I eventually found substitute teaching. It was in the Santa Monica, Malibu Unified School District, and it was very cool, the experience of it. I was there for 5 years, but when I first started, there was all these tests, the CBS test, all these tests, fingerprints, background checks, and it took like several months to get everything back to clear and everything. So I started taking the process, and they paid sometimes, you can make $150, $200 a day as a substitute in Santa Monica. And that was years ago. I can't imagine. So they pay their subs pretty well. So I was going to be able to work, 2 or 3 days a week. I lived in Venice Beach. I had a little apartment. It was perfect. So, but anyway, in the meantime, before I got to substitute, I'm like, what can I do? A friend of mine, he hates when I say his name. It's, starts with a D. D as in dog. He said, man, you ought to just look in the back of the LA Weekly and drive around a bunch of hookers, dude. And I'm like, what the hell? That's crazy, man. What are you talking about? So you guys know how in St. Louis we had the Riverfront Times. Well, the equivalent, it's a free paper. I think they still do it. Maybe they don't. I don't know. But back then in LA, it was the LA Weekly. So I go grab an LA Weekly. I was curious. Like, oh, shut up, man. That's fucked up, dude. That's crazy. But I started thinking about it. So I looked in the LA Weekly, and you guys, there's pages and pages and pages and pages and pages of call girl ads and massage parlors. This was back, early 2000s. I don't know about now. So I call up like 50 or 60 of these girls, and most of them hang up on me. They think, I'm a sting, I'm gonna bust them, or I'm a cop or whatever. But 2 or 3, it's a numbers game. 2 or 3 of them were like, you know what? I'd like to have kind of a bodyguard. How big are you? I'm like, well, I'm not that big, but I can scrap like a motherfucker, and I got a good car, and I got a pager. They're like, all right, let's meet. Let's talk about it. That's how it was with one. And then the other one was like, nice. Can you start tonight? How much do you charge? I'm like, I just rattled off $50 for the first drive, and then each additional drive it'll be $35, please. Like, okay, cool. Can you start tonight? I started that night. I made like $85. I took her somewhere else, all around Santa Monica, West LA, Beverly Hills, Hollywood, where all the South Bay, Malibu, where all the money is, or most of the money is, I guess. And it was a pretty crazy experience, And so I kept driving them. I would do it here and there, and then I started subbing. So I was a total pimp daddy. Eventually, one of the girls, Tammy, I won't say her last name. No, I forgot her last name. She was putting herself through law school. She was one of the ones I worked with. She was hot. She was awesome. We became friends. They liked me a lot because, I drove them around. They had a little extra security. They would page me if there was a problem or whatever, And do we have cell phones too, or just pagers? But anyway, she liked. So anyway, her and I became really good friends. The girls liked me mainly because I didn't hit on them. I didn't hit on any of these girls. We had a cool business sister brother like relationship. It really was that. There were so many times I dropped them off. I'd park my Jeep Cherokee, like the old school Jeep Cherokee, the box style. I'd go in the back of my Jeep Cherokee and just play songs. They'd page me up. She's ready. Go get her. There's $50. Go to the next place. Out there's $35. She'd probably give me 40 or 50 more. They make so much money, and I didn't know what they did. I didn't care. There was one time where we were driving over the 405, and one of the girls asked me, she's like, she brought this foil, and there's a little black nugget on the foil. She lights the foil and huffs the foil, the smoke from the little black thing on the foil starts smoking, and she huffs it. I'm not sure what that is, but I assumed in my brain, from what I'd known, what I'd heard in rock and roll, that she was freebasing heroin. And I guess at that point, so yes, that's where it comes from, me driving around crack whores. I think they were whores. I don't know. There was another story where this guy came running out after she pages me, and then she puts 911. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? I see her running out. I'm driving down, it was the Hollywood Hills. I'm driving this little gravel road off of Mulholland, and I see her running, and this guy's kind of after her. chasing after her kind of real lightly. And he stops. He's like, I'm like, what the hell? She's like, he won't give me my money. He won't give me my money. I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? He's like, she's on the fucking rag, man. And I'm like, looked at him. She's like, want me to go at him to get the money. He's like, and I'm like, bro code, dude. I kind of agree. You're on the rag? That's fucked up. He pays for a service and you aren't, cleanly and ready in that service area. You know what I mean? So, yeah, she fired me. But she needed a ride home. So that was the most awkward fucking ride I've ever had. But I'm like, I stood my ground. I'm like, I thank God that I stood his ground. Because I don't know what I'd done if he'd have said, oh, she's ugly or something, I don't know what I'd done. That's great. But there was another time where I'm in the back of, it was, guys, this made me a little nervous. It was a hotel, right? And the girls are always freaked out about busts. I drop her off. She walks around. I park. I park backwards so I can see everything. I'm in the back seat playing my guitar, and I see 3 cop cars surround me. I don't know where the fuck they came from, but they start looking around with flashlights. I'm like in the back seat. Hi. They thought I was like this Mac Daddy rock and roll pimp. They got me out. They searched. They did all this stuff. I said, guys, I'm just a college student making some extra cash. I'm a rocker. I don't know what they do. They pay me. Maybe it's Bible studies. Maybe they're fucking playing checkers. I don't fucking know. I don't hit on them. I don't care. If I see a little jizz on her forehead, I ain't gonna say shit, officer. I don't know anything. And they believe me. They were cool. They're like, dude, you can go make extra money and not doing this shit, man. Get out of here, dude. So that was pretty funny. But here's like one of my favorites. This is crazy. Tammy and I became friends. I started subbing. I started kind of weeding out the driving around the whores and the crack whores and the strippers or whatever else they did. I started kind of weeding that out while I started subbing, right? Because I was making decent money subbing. So Tammy, her and I were kind of tight. She's like, honey, while you're subbing, can I use your place for in-call? I'm like, oh my God. You're going to get banged in my living room? I kind of said that in so many words. She's like, no, honey. All I do is a massage and a happy ending. I heard that. Check it out. Here's how. But okay, so I think about it. I'm like, you know what, man, that's serious cash. I'm making $150 subbing. I come home and she's gonna give me 50 or 85, whatever. That's decent cash. So I was like, okay, let's do it. So it started working out. And every time it came in after she had left, there was a sign. If the light was on, she had a client. I had to wait across the street. But Venice Boulevard's pretty busy. So when I parked across the street and waited for some guy to walk out of my apartment and get into his Land Rover or his Porsche or his Beamer or whatever, it was normal. I'd wait, make sure she turned the light off. That was safe for me to go. After I subbed 4-ish, whatever, I go in. She'd pay me my cash. If I couldn't make it there or if she left early, she would slide the cash under my door. I had a locked door. I got a lock because of this. She'd slide the cash under my hardwood floor. She told the guys that the apartment was her nephew and he's out of town going to school or whatever. So it was perfect. And I'm like, hey, these guys, when they're on the table and before they get jacked off, can you put that CD down so they see it? Maybe they'll sign my band. She said, yeah, I'll do it. So there were some guys there were some music executives that got their penis spanked in my apartment. And you probably looked at my On Tracy Lane CD. You probably won't come forward, but I invite you to. It'd be fucking hilarious. Oh, you guys, it's funny. What else I have written down here? Oh, guys, the best part. Here we go. This is the best part. One time I go in, the light was off. I go in. A guy arrives late. He arrives freaking late. She's like, go in your room, lock it, don't make a sound. So I'm freaked out. I'm like, oh my God, I lock it and I just stay in there. I'm so scared to make any noise. I don't want to get in my bed. I might fall asleep and fall off the bed. Maybe my bed squeaks. I don't remember. You know what I mean? It was so crazy. I sat down real quietly, like Indian style, and just sat there. I heard the whole freaking thing. So maybe she didn't bang him because she knew I was there, but I heard the massage music. I heard the small talk go into like this relaxing music, the candles, the smell. And I hear, just sweet sounds for like half an hour. It was so crazy. It felt like an eternity. And then I hear, oh, baby. I'll give you 200 more if you sit on it. I'll give you 300 more if I can, do all kinds of stuff. And I was hearing this, and I hear, So yeah, I heard the client get spanked in my, and check this out. This is the best part. It's an old school apartment. There was an AC unit. There was a little bitty hole that went through so I could see into my living room. It was a 1-bedroom apartment right there on Venice Boulevard. I could see, but I could just see like part of Tammy, her arm. I didn't really see anything. I have to admit, I'm not going to lie. When that guy was doing that, I kind of looked out, but I couldn't see. I just saw her arm or whatever, but I heard the sounds of it. So when I do that on my radio, or when I've done that on my radio show in the past, when I go, that would pay homage to the experience of a record label executive getting jacked off in my Venice Beach apartment, looking at my On Tracy Lane CD. I guess deciding not to sign OTL yet. How funny would that be if I get signed through this story? Guys, it was 12715 West Venice Boulevard. That was not your girl Tammy who spanked you. That was my apartment. That money was going to me, baby. Part of that money went to me. Pimp daddy, rock and roll pimp daddy. All right, guys. So that's my driving crack horrors in the Hollywood Hills story.